If I had to run from a burning house with 4 films,
I watched Brendan Fraser's 4 favorite films and judged him for not having the exact same taste in movies as me. I'm just kidding, guys. I'm using this as a way to watch things that I haven't seen before, and I respect Brendan Fraser's opinion on this. And hopefully I can help you decide whether or not you want to spend the time to watch these films.
in no particular order, The Red Balloon.
Brendan, what the hell is this? A 34-minute film? I don't even know if this should be qualified to be in your top 4, honestly. It's almost like it's not even a film. It's like some kind of a little film or something. This film is about a little kid who has an almost sentient balloon that follows him everywhere he goes. It's a simple story about childhood, innocence, and growing up in a world with people who want to do you harm. But no, someone has to tell me why this is one of the most beautiful films I have ever seen. One of the reasons is that this film has a beautiful color palette that emphasizes color harmony and color contrast. Color harmony in the fact that the grays of the buildings match the grays of the outfits, and color contrast in the fact that the saturation of the red balloon is much greater than the rest of the image. But what takes this color palette over the top is that the red balloon also has color harmony with the skin tones of the characters. For instance, if they used a blue balloon instead of a red balloon, it wouldn't match as well with the skin tones of the characters, but they used a red balloon, and so it's genius. But also the lighting in the entire film is super soft because of the clouds and maybe pollution of Paris, and the framing is absolutely gorgeous. Just look at this shot. This will also be your favorite film if you like films that are poetic, quiet, simple, and beautiful. And this might not be your favorite film if you don't like minimal dialogue, slow pace, and limited character development. I'm also going to rank his favorite films in relation to one another, so there's only 4 spots. This one is going to go in the 4th spot for me because I like character development more, and it's a little film.
Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
I have to admit I have not seen this movie either. It's a big hole in my filmography, but I watched it now, so it's not a hole any longer and you can't judge me. I think this movie almost 100% stands the test of time. There are some dated aspects about it. I think the music is a little cheesy, the dialogue's a little hard to understand, and some of the editing just stays on reaction shots for too long, but the humor is actually still really funny. There's some edgy jokes, there's some just like out-of-pocket stuff that I find really hilarious. But I think this is obviously a great movie, a classic, and you should definitely watch it if you haven't. This will be your favorite movie if you like heartwarming comedies, travel films, and John Candy being an absolute force of nature. This will not be your favorite film if you don't like cheesy music cues, imprecise editing, and a predictable plot. So I'm gonna put this at number 2 on this list.
The General.
You might know this movie from one of the most iconic stunt scenes of all time, this one, where Buster Keaton is literally on a train right now picking up rail ties and throwing them at one another. This, along with some other stunts in the film, are absolutely insane and require an immense amount of coordination. I do have some problems with it though. I think it is a little bit elongated because it is basically just a really long train chase sequence. I think it could be cut down a lot, but it is very impressive, not only in the stunts, but also the cinematography. I don't know how they got shots like this back in the day. And the fact that Buster Keaton was such a train fanatic that he insisted on driving this train. I'm not sure if you say driving a train, but he drove the train. He conducted the train himself. And it's just an amazing work of art that would not be made today. This might be one of your favorite movies if you like slapstick comedy, historical influence, stunts, and trains. It might not be your favorite movie if you don't like slapstick comedy, silent films, and the fact that Buster Keaton's character is literally a Confederate soldier in this. And that's one of the things that brings it down a notch for me because the hero of the story is a Confederate soldier trying to get a train back from the Union Army. And I just can't help but have the historical context in my mind when I'm watching it and not really rooting for him to win. But I would encourage you to look into why Buster Keaton made this from the Confederates' perspective. Part of the reason is because it's a comedy and he didn't think it would work as well if the good, competent people in the Union were being goofy. So just keep that in mind though. I'm gonna put this at number 3 on this list.
And Star Wars.
And at number 1, we have Star Wars, and I'm not even going to take the time to talk about this movie because it's Star Wars and you should have seen it already. And if you haven't, then what are you doing with your life? You haven't seen the same movie as I have? You're so dumb. So thank you, Brendan, and thank you, Letterboxd, for these recommendations. Next time, we'll talk about more stuff.